to them or work with them one-on-one. So let's go over to my PowerPoint. All right, so this is a 2-hour-long session. It is meant to be interactive, and it's a workathon. So typically in the world of technology, when you're playing around with something new, they might say that you're kind of in the sandbox. So I'm going to start off going over some basics, and then we're going to get in the sandbox. We're going to play around and actually see Wakelet and see how to use it. So I am Christy Klinger. I work at the Institute for the Study of Adult Literacy at Penn State University. And I am with the Workforce Development System Liaison Project. And my focus this year has been supporting student support coordinators. I started in adult education as a volunteer tutor in the 90s, spent some time as a teacher, a program director. I've also worked in K-12. And recently finished my master's degree in learning design and technology, and have some certificates in e-learning design and distance learning. So I'm excited to share my experiences with Wakelet. I love Wakelet. I don't get paid to say that I love Wakelet or get a kickback or anything like that, but I found it to be a very user-friendly tool. And I hope that after you leave this session today, you take away at least one way that you can use Wakelet for yourself, or you can use it with your adult learners that you support, or you can show adult learners how to use it for things that they may want to organize. So the purpose of this session is that we just review the basics of creating and using Wakelet boards. So you might hear them called Wakelet boards or Wakelet collections, but it's pretty much like a virtual bulletin board. You'll also have an opportunity to explore the Student Support Coordinator Hub, which is housed on Wakelet. And we'll also discuss other ways to use the Wakelet boards. And then we will spend time creating boards and using the features and tools involved with Wakelet. So what is Wakelet? It is a content curation platform. So it's on the internet and it can be accessed through your web browser, or you can use it on a wireless device, whether that be a smartphone or a tablet, with an internet connection through an app or the internet browser. And what you'll notice is if you download the Wakelet app on your smartphone, it looks very similar to how it will appear on a web browser. So whether you're on an Android or an iPhone or a tablet or a Samsung or a laptop, I mean, whatever you put on there is going to look very similar across those devices. Once you're on this platform, you can create different boards or collections, and this will allow either you as an individual or you and other people to work together to save links, videos, PDF files, and images, and you can do that as private or public collections. And you can also add notes to the different things that you put so that you can tell a story, ask questions, or give directions. So as I mentioned, the Student Support Coordinator Hub is something new that we created this year, and it is on Wakelet. And actually, it's a Wakelet board that connects to other Wakelet boards. And we'll go to that first today with our exploration. But the Wakelet board that we have set up as the SSC Hub, we do have a part of it where you can add your own resources. So we've had a few people send me resources they would like to share with other student support coordinators, but our hope is after today and after some more work with Wakelet, that some of you will start feeling comfortable adding things yourself to that part of the hub. So we want to make it interactive. So I'll share things that I would like over time that people can share things within the field with each other. So let's talk about some ways you might use Wakelet with your adult learners. So one possibility is that if you have a lot of orientation handouts on paper and a lot of information that you're sharing at orientation, you may want to also put that on Wakelet. So you could still give all the paper handouts, but you could also put it onto Wakelet. And what you can do is when you create a Wakelet board, and we'll see this in action in a few minutes, it will automatically generate a QR code for you. So you can put that QR code on paper on your handouts at orientation. And if people have their smartphone with them at orientation, they can scan it with their smartphone camera and be able to pull up the handouts digitally and save that, on their phone. Another idea is if there's certain things that you notice that you are frequently needing to give to learners, you could put together a board with those frequently accessed resources. And you can also send nudging texts or emails with link to the board that have resources. So like I recently was at a session where a post-secondary institution was talking about how during COVID, they couldn't have people come to their offices to get the supports they needed, but they would send out little texts and emails to students like, hey, if you need help with this, don't forget that we have this resource, and they would link. And what they found is that suddenly a lot of resources that they used to have in face-to-face that now they were migrating virtually, people were accessing them more because they would send it and then they could click on it right away and they would look at it. So it wouldn't be like before where they would know something existed, but they had to plan to get there and talk to somebody or to access it. So just something to think about that, this might be a quick way for adult learners to get their needs met and also, keep reminding them of some of the things that you have that maybe, again, you talked at orientation, but it's been a few weeks and they might have forgot that you have this particular resource. So maybe that's something like at orientation, you share about the local food bank or childcare places that are close to your facility, and they might have forget about that. So a little reminder and having it accessible on Wakelet. You can create boards to help learners explore in-demand industry sectors, high priority occupations, and local labor market information. So again, your in-demand industry sectors for your local area would be in the local plan. And then the high priority occupations are listed and updated yearly on Department of Labor and Industry's website. And local labor market information can be found in a variety of ways. You can go onto the PA Career Link website. You can go to Career One Stop and look up for Pennsylvania. You can go on to the Center for Workforce Information and Analysis through Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry. Or to make life really easy, you can just contact me at my email, which I'll share at the end of the presentation, and I can help you get that information. And then you can put it onto boards and help learners have some self-exploration. Another thing, again, moving to a little more difficulty here is you can actually help adult learners build their own Wakelet account and Wakelet boards, and they can build a career portfolio. So I have samples of career portfolios. I'm not going to get into those today. I've done presentations on that before, but if you would like to do that and want links to the examples or step-by-step instructions, again, just feel free to email me. And I'm more than happy, again, to work with anybody one-on-one to help them through this. Finally, again, since I mostly work with student support coordinators, that's the angle I'm taking with this. So student support coordinators could work with teachers to create extension activity boards. I do realize some of you that are on here might be teachers, or you might wear multiple hats at your agency. So you're a teacher and a student support coordinator, and maybe eData and maybe something else. So again, working together with different staff to create these extension activity boards. This can even be with your workforce partners. Maybe you have a Title I partner or EARN partner that has some great resources and they want to share on that board as well. So all of this can be done to extend the basic skills that the adults are learning in the classroom. So I'll pause for a moment if anyone has any thoughts or questions on some of these ideas. You can put it in the chat or you can unmute. Okay, don't see anything at the moment, but if something comes to mind, feel free anytime to put a comment in the chat. All right, so as I said, when we play around with technology, we kind of say like we're getting into the sandbox. So we're going to leave my PowerPoint and go into the Wakelet sandbox. And thank you, Crystal, for your comment. All right, so let's go to. Okay. And I'm going to stop my video so that we can get a better feed. So just so you can see, like I have all kinds of Wakelet boards, and I've even separated, like I have even separate like accounts almost, where I have some personal ones and then I have the SSC hub all in one place. So all of my Wakelet boards that connect to the SSC hub board are all in this one location. So when I'm sharing this, the SSC hub with student support coordinators, I go to this particular Wakelet board and I go up here and click share, and it's a public board and I'm able to copy this link, and I'm going to put this in the chat right now. So all of you will be able to click on that link and you can open up this same Wakelet board on your screen if you want to. I did put a Wakelet handout as a PDF at the very top of the hub. So what I do with the hub is as I add new things, I put it there, I put the date, and then after it's been there for a little while, I integrate it into the rest of the hub. So I added this today. If you click on it, what'll come up is the PDF, which is a handout that you can print or you can save, which gives you some tips of what I'm going to go over today. So it has the link to that hub, same link that I just put in the chat. I'm also going to share in a moment the link to the area of the hub where you can add things if you want to. And just a reminder that if you are wanting just to view my Wakelet boards or someone else's, you don't need to create an account. So all of you should be able to click that link I put in the chat right now, and you can view it and you don't need to create an account. It might ask you if you want to create an account, but you don't have to. If you wanted to add to Wakelet boards, you want to create your own, then you do have to create an account. So we'll go through creating your own Wakelet board. It's 5 easy steps. Again, you'll have this handout if you want to print it, and it has a screenshot and things circled. And then it also shows you how to share boards, but that's what we're going to practice doing right now. So if I go to my other board, which allows for that collaboration, that's the resource sharing space. So if you click on, you'll notice that things are green, they can be clicked on. Those are hyperlinked items. So on the SSC hub, we have some different resources for barrier reduction. Those can all be linked on. And then down here, we have a list of some different resources. So it's, building the plane as we're flying it. So you'll notice some things aren't green yet because we're still adding to that. So what we're going to do today as our in the sandbox activity is actually create the Wakelet board that will link to the informal assessments part of the Student Support Coordinator Hub. So when you go to this research sharing space, again, you may notice there's that share button, but it might look a little different. Over here, and before I go on, if someone could just confirm to me that as I'm switching screens, it's keeping up with what I'm talking about.
We can see the different screens.
Okay, thank you. So what I wanted to share the main hub with you, you'll see this little like globe, and that means it's public. So that's on my public Wakelet board, anybody can see it. When we went to the resource area, now you notice it has a little eye with a crossover. So this one is unlisted. So that means I can give you a link, and I'll do that right now in the chat, and you'll be able to go into that link and see it, but it's not going to be out in the public board. Now, that link I gave you, you're just going to be able to see it. If I go over to this tab, invite collaborators, now I can get a different link, and this will allow you to access it as a collaborator. So the second link that I'm going to put in the chat, it's really the third link of the day, has a little invite in it. Now you would, if you click on that link, you would have to create a Wakelet account so that you could come in and add things to that. So as I mentioned before, I've had some people share things and I've been able to put it on here. But if you use that collaboration link, you can come on and add your own things to share with other student support coordinators. Any questions about that so far? Okay, so
Hey,
let's
Chrissy,
go ahead. Yep.
this is Emily, just real quick. I think the second link, when I click on it, it's saying the short URL is not found. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing that issue.
Let's see. We can copy it again and see. Yeah, it's coming up the same.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Did anybody else have a problem when they clicked on? Has anybody else tried clicking?
Yes. I see the same thing as Emily sees.
Okay. Wonder why it's saying that. Let me try this. What if, usually this doesn't work, but I'll try it anyway, since we're all about messing around in the sandbox. If you click that link that I just put in, will it let you see this one?
Yes, that one's working.
Oh, okay. Well,
And the invite link is working. So those, like the invite and the last one that you posted gets us to where we need to be.
okay, thank you. And like I said, I don't work for Wakelet. I don't have any, I don't own Wakelet. So anytime we use like a web-based technology, you could run into this. And so I think it is important if you do this, like with learners, whatever approach you're going to take, if it's going to be, we'll scan a QR code and look at it, or you're going to give it to learners and a link through a text, or you're going to actually have them try to create and collaborate. Mention that up front to learners that this is technology. All kinds of technology sometimes has the possibility of glitching. And what are some problem solving techniques that they can use? So, that's really, really important piece of technology skills is the problem solving. When something's not working, what can you do to figure it out? So, go back and ask the person that sends you the link to try to resend the link. Try the link on a different browser. I'm using Google Chrome. I don't know if that matters. If somebody else was trying to open it on Edge, maybe it's, glitching on the Edge browser and not the Chrome browser. So, help your learners realize that they may have to problem solve at time when they're using different technology. All right, any other questions so far?
Yeah, I have this is Mitchell Berger, Chrissy. So maybe I missed this, but when you sign up for this or you do this, is it free? Do you have to pay for it? First of all?
Sure, excellent question. So it is free, and what's another reason that I really like Wakelet is they are very committed to being an open education resource, which means that they have no intentions of limiting what you can do with it. So for example, some products that are out there, you could maybe make 1 or 2 boards for free, but then if you want to have unlimited boards, you have to pay a certain amount each month. Other products, you have to pay right up front if you want to use it at all, or you get a 30-day free trial. And then after that, if you want to keep what you made, you have to pick some kind of subscription level. So Wakelet's not like that at all. They don't have any intentions to be that way. So you can make as many Wakelet boards as you want when you create an account. There's no cost, and they're going to take very basic information from you to be able to create that account. So excellent question. Thank you.
So can I ask another question?
Yes, that's what we're here for. I would love if you guys do most of the talking.
Okay. The other question I have is, like, I'm looking at this line, it's like some of the teachers that I work with use Google Classroom, But now I'm looking at this. Can you put assignments on here and worksheets and materials you're going to use and just have your learners click on them to see them?
So yeah, we'll see this in a moment. This can actually integrate with Google Classroom. So some technologies that are out there behind the scenes, they have written codes to make them play nice together to make it easy for users. So this one has some things it already plays nice with and can integrate real easily, and it's not a lot of work on your end. But if you wanted to switch away from Google Classroom and use something like this, you definitely could make a Wakelet board for different assignments. So for example, let's say that you're always doing fractions the same way and giving the same assignments when you first introduce it. So maybe you want to make a fractions board with some basic things that they would work through. And then from there, maybe you diversify and do other stuff. But that Wakelet board can stay, consistent. You're probably not going to be successful with Wakelet is that I think it's going to be a little easier in Google Classroom for them to copy things. They can copy collections and copy things on Wakelet. It's just going to take more digital literacy skills to do that. So
I'm thinking more about, can you put like, all right, so let's say, for example, you have a reading passage or something like this with some questions, maybe fill in the blanks or something like that. Can you put it on Wakelet just so they can see it?
Yep. Yeah, you can do that. And the other thing is, like, if you have a story on paper and you don't have a digital version of it, you can take a picture with your smartphone and you can upload a photo onto Wakelet. So if you
So
had
is there like a FAQ or a place where you can get instructions how to use it, or you just basically have to sign up and just click around and figure it out?
They have like Wakelet themselves have some resources and an area for educators to collaborate and share. So some people have made like Wakelet help boards and Wakelet videos on YouTube and that. But I'm going to walk through some things today. And then if you want to start doing stuff again, I have open office hours every week. And, people are welcome. You can come, I can walk through some stuff. And, I'm more than happy to, even if you need more of a customized technical assistance where you have a group that wants to try to do something with Wakelet, we can work with your agency that way. And I'm allowed to travel, so I can come to your site or do things virtually. Crystal, I think you had a question.
Yes. My question is just, does Wakelet serve more as a resource repository like Merlot, or can we actually collaborate with our learners? Like, I know we just learned about the share link. Can we do that with our learners, but not necessarily to the extent of an LMS?
Yeah, so in K-12, Wakelet has been used in that way, where like they'll have a bunch of students work together and collaboratively create a Wakelet board and put things on there. And I think it's used a little bit sporadically in adult education from what I've seen, like on the Links technology group. So it's definitely possible. The piece of it is how much time you can commit to teaching the skills the adults need to be able to do it. I mean, we go back to the problem solving. If you have some adults that are a little more adventurous and they're willing to try things and mess around and problem solve, I mean, I think creating that collaborative board and getting them started and kind of letting them go is a really great idea. And, Chuck and I were talking earlier, some people think they're going to break the internet. You're not really going to break the Wakelet board. Like, you're not going to shut Wakelet down. So I think it's worth trying with learners, but maybe it's something you take your more advanced learners and two of them collaborate and see how that goes, and then sort of build capacity from there.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
The other thing I'll show before we go on to making a Wakelet board. One of the other reasons that I really like Wakelet is it integrates the immersive reader tool. So this particular part of the Wakelet board, I have just put text in. And if you go over here to those three dots and click immersive reader, and this might take a moment to do it, the immersive reader tool pops up. And what this does is it allows the user to pick text preferences. Maybe they need a dark background when they're reading. Maybe they need a different font. Maybe they need the font to be a different size. And they can go over here and you can highlight nouns and verbs, and you can pick the colors you want them to be. You can go to the dictionary and you can have a picture dictionary of morning, and you can have it speak to you as well.
Morning.
For our English language learners, they can translate this. So they can choose a language to translate it. And again, it will put the English, then it will do the Chinese, and still have the picture dictionary. So this would allow them to meet some of their learning needs without you having to adapt the material. And it can read the whole thing to them too. There's a part down here where they can play the whole thing.
Morning or afternoon office hour, link below to meet with.
So they can come back out of immersive reader. Now, it is still in the beta phase, like meaning like they're still working out all of what you can do on Wakelet being accessible through the immersive reader tool. But if you type text in, that always works. Some of the links you might add will work, and you'll be able to have them use the immersive reader tool. Other links, they'll click on it and the immersive reader tool will not work for it. So over time, hopefully that gets better. But it is a nice tool. And again, going back to where some of you are thinking about, if you wanted to put a reading assignment on here, you might be able to just copy and paste it in as text, and then they could use the immersive reader tool and it could be read to them, or they could translate pieces, or they could use the picture dictionary or change the font size. So that might be helpful to be able to do that. All right, so we're ready, I think, to walk through making a Wakelet board. So I'm going to go back to my Wakelet homepage for me, and I'm going to click on create a new collection. And so you'll notice over here it pops up, and this is where I'm going to go first. Like, do I want it to be media view, which is what you've seen so far, where it just goes down a line? Do I want it to be compacted, where maybe I'm going to put a lot of things on here, so it kind of will do an accordion. We'll just show a few words and then they can click on it and I'll show the full thing. I can do a grid where it's going to be more like boxes all over the screen. I can do a mood board where it's going to mix up the different sizes. Me personally, that one drives me crazy. It's visually a mess for me, but other people might like that. And then the column, this is where maybe you want to put categories. And so like, again, for some of you that are thinking about this in a lesson planning, or like even in orientation, you might want to do a column that says day 1 and column that says day 2, and then you put the resources under the correct day. We're going to go with the grid version for this one that we're going to create. And then it's up to you if you want a cover image or a background image. I'll add a cover image and I'll choose from the library that they have. And so I'm doing this on assessments. So I'll see what they have for choices on assessments. And let's see, we'll do this one. So once it puts that image there, you do have the option to come back over to the little paint thing here and choose if you want the image to be full or half. So I usually do mine as half images to take up less room on the screen. And then I'll choose not to do a background image. But again, if you want to come back and ever change any of that, you would just click on the little paint thing over here to the left. So I do those items, and then I come over here and give my, I mean, you don't necessarily have to do these in a particular order. But I did put the 5 things you should do and before you like say that you're ready to share this or use it. So I'm going to make this public. You'll notice your choices are private where only you can see it, unlisted where it will give you a link and you can share with other people, but it won't be on your public Wakelet profile, or public where you can share the link and it's in the public profile. So you'll notice that we can come back to this later. When we do have it the way we want, we can invite people by sharing this link. So we could copy that link. We can have it give us a QR code. Again, we can integrate into Google Classroom. We can share on social media. So again, if it has something to do with orientation, you might want to share to your social media page and people might be able to look at a few things before they come to orientation. And then if you use the Remind app, again, it already has some things figured out to make it easier to work with the Remind app. So we're going to give my collection a title. This is going to be called Informal Assessments. And then you should also give a description so that people understand maybe what the purpose of this board is. So this is a collection. Okay, so we have the basics set up here, and now we'll add our first item. So okay, Clara, thank you for sharing the link. Hopefully that link works better than the links I was sharing earlier. All right, so what I'm going to do first is the add text. So what you can do is if you already have text somewhere, you could copy and paste it in, or you can just type things. So I have, bear with me 1 second, I have to go back to it. I found this website where it had some questions to jumpstart career exploration. So I thought some of these questions were good, but I don't know if I want to do all of them. So I was like, okay, I could go over here and let me just copy some of these. And then I'll go back over to my Wakelet board and I'm going to I'm actually going to use a shortcut. Control V is paste, Control C is copy. And so I have all these different questions in there. Now they can all be there. Now, if I want to edit this, again, I can just come back and click on edit. And you'll notice I accidentally clicked the heading button. So now that one looks different. So maybe I just want to go back up and make sure they all look the same. So I'm not going to mess around with this too much. So you get the idea. There's text in there. You have some options of changing and how it looks. You can also hyperlink to the text. So like I'm going to put here where I got this from. So I can do, this was from Wesley College. I highlight it and then I go over here, make sure I copy this link, hyperlink button here, paste it. So again, now if somebody wants to click on this, they can go to that full article right there. And it opens as a separate web browser. So again, you know, if you're going to have learners use this, you know, they go here and they're like, oh my gosh, where'd the Wakelet board go? You notice you can't go back. You have to close that tab or just go back and find the original Wakelet tab. And again, when you do that, click on that, it brings it up into the full screen. So now that you're on the Wakelet board, you can hit the back arrow to go back to the actual board. The other thing, like I said, you can do the immersive reader tool. So because this is text, oh, maybe it's not going to find it. We'll see. Try it again. That it is in beta version, so maybe because that hyperlink is there, it's not picking it up, or maybe it needs some time to process it. So the next thing I'm going to show you how to add is an image. So we want to add an image, and I already have it saved on my computer. So again, you know, it does give you some options from the library, but I'm going to have an image that I already saved. And so this image was a screenshot of some conversation starters. And so I want to include that. And now as I add things, it's bumping over what I added before. So if I want to move them around, I just grab it and put it over here. Now let's say I have some websites I want to add on to here. So my next move has a great career inventory that people can do. So I can copy that and go back to my Wakelet board, and I can just paste it in there and it'll put it right there. North Star, any of you that have been at the conference already this week might have heard something about North Star. Maybe I want to put that website in there. And again, just copy and paste and it's on there. Takes a few seconds. Some of you were talking about, okay, how well does this play with Google and the Google Classroom or Google Forms or Google Docs? So I have a checklist in my Google Docs around technology skills. So if I wanted students to be able to see this and copy it, I could just use the share link that Google can create. And again, come back over here and add it in there. So now if learners want to click on this, it'll take them to Google Docs, and then they could make a copy and store it in their Google Drive. We have a, you've already seen a screenshot of part of this, but if I wanted to put the whole PDF in, I could save that and do that. I have a different PDF though that I'm going to use. But again, like this was on a website, I downloaded it as a PDF and then I could upload. So you have, sometimes you think about, well, do I want them to access it as a web address? Or if it is a web address and goes to a PDF, do I want to download the PDF and put the PDF here? So whichever way you think is going to be easiest for your learners to navigate. So on the PA Adult Ed Resources website, we have the career information checklist. So I could put the link to the PA Adult Ed Resources website and have the students go there to access this assessment, or I could download it as a PDF and put it on there. I could do both as well. So I, could go ahead and upload the PDF. And then I could also go to PA Adult Ed Resources. And it's under career coaching and career information checklist. When I go there, I can copy the link right there. And everybody's browsers are different. So I should mention, I have my browser set that it opens in Adobe Acrobat within my Google Chrome and stuff. So yours might open and be a little bit different. So the way you get the link might be different. Some of you might be able to go to the top and get the link, but with what I'm using, I have to get my link here. But I can go back and add this as a link. So, I could do one or the other. I could put it in there both ways. However, I think it's going to be what will work for the people that are using the Wakelet board. I have a Google form that has career questions. So this works as an informal assessment. And this form I set up in a way where they have to do like yes and no. And then they also have to check boxes. So I was trying to get them to use some different skills. In this case, if I wanted to share this, that I wanted the learner to fill it out and I could see the responses, I would need to go to send on my Google Forms and get the link to send. So I'm going to copy that, put that on my Wakelet board, And what you'll notice now is if I click on this, it should look a little bit different because now I'm actually answering it. The other view was me as the editor. So just be careful if you decide to put forms on there. Do you want them to be able to copy and edit the form, or do you want them to be able to fill out the form? So you have to use the right link for what you want them to do. And then the Pennsylvania Career Guide, this is another example where like the career guide changes over time. So maybe it's usually always on this web page, but the PDF itself might change. So maybe I want to use the web page instead of the actual PDF, since I don't want to keep updating it all the time. Another resource that has some informal assessments is the Integrating Career Awareness Curriculum Guide. It's a pretty big PDF, but it also has modifiable handouts. So I downloaded the one handout on a need versus wants worksheet. Wakelet doesn't let me put a Word document in. And if I copy and paste this with it having charts, it's probably not going to work real well because it's not just text. So what I did in this situation is I changed this to a PDF. So there's two ways that I am aware of that you can change things to PDF. First is you can go within Word and go to File, and I can do Save as Adobe PDF, and I have the ability to do that, and it'll convert it over. So so it'll convert, and now it's in a PDF. So now I could upload it to Wakelet that way. The other way you can save something as a PDF, if you go to File and Print, and then you click on your printer, within your printer choices, you sometimes have to scroll all the way to the bottom. You should have some option where it can print to some type of PDF. Mine offers two different versions here. So I'm going to pick Adobe, and then I could click Print. And what it's going to do is what it just did there. It's going to change it to it.
Christy, I'm only seeing the
Oh,
integrating career awareness screen.
okay, thank you. Let
You're
me
welcome.
switch over. Is it showing the Word document now?
Yes.
So you click File and Print, and then let me go back and do that again. So File, you go to Print, and then where your printers are located, find where it has the PDF, and then click the Print button, and then you'll see it'll tell you to save it. And there it's converting it, and then you'll be able to see it as a PDF. Is it showing the PDF now, or is it still showing the Word document?
Word document.
Okay, so it's not really, you're not going to notice much of a difference. The document looks pretty much the same, but you'll notice now it's in Adobe instead of Word. Okay, so I have it in the PDF now. Any questions on how I did that? It was in Word and I changed it to PDF. And now what we'll do is go back to the Wakelet board. Is everyone seeing the Wakelet board again?
Yes.
Okay, so now I converted that Word document to a PDF. I want to now put that PDF there. So I find where I stored it. And now it's uploading it. So now if a learner wants to access that informal assessment, they can click on here as a PDF and view it on their screen. And again, this could look different for them. And this, depending on what kind of PDF reader they have, they may or may not be able to get in and like edit it. They might just be able to look at it. All right. Any questions about that? So let's do the share and see if this link works. So I'll put this in the chat. Everybody try to click on the chat link that I just put in. And let me know if it works, and you can see this informal assessment board and all of the different things that is on it. The other thing I'll let you mess around with is putting a QR code up. If you're on this session with your laptop and you have a smartphone near you, you can go to the camera on your smartphone, aim it at the QR code, and a little button should come up that you can press that takes you to the Wakelet board on your smartphone. So you can view what this looks like on your smartphone. So I'm gonna have a little awkward silence here. I'm gonna give everybody a moment to try that if they want to try that, to link on, see if our link is working. I see there's some comment. Okay, so it looks like that link's working good. That's not glitching. And I'm going to stop the recording now because we're going to go into playing around ourselves with stuff. So.